Hello everyone and welcome to the GMS Magazine channel. I am Paco Garcia, your host, and this is the rpgaday 2021 edition. This video, it's all about theory. The RPG A Day initiative was started by Dave Chapman 8 years ago, and it's taken off and it's doing absolutely amazingly well, and that means that we talk about set topics during the month of August every single day, and there is a plethora of people doing fantastic videos and blog posts and podcast episodes and all sorts of absolutely amazing stuff. So please do take a look. Today is all about theory, and you know, it's quite funny that that word comes up because theory was a very important part of role-playing games for me at the very beginning, when I had a keen interest in understanding how rules worked and mechanisms, how learning the rules and how applying a formula to help me develop my games was going to work. And to this day, the only theory that has really stuck with me is the storytelling theory. I still love the hero's journey, yes, with all the issues that it comes up with, and some of its variations, and I love to study and hear about storytelling theory from all over the world. And believe you me, if you take a look at storytelling theory from Japan or Korea, wow, there are so many things in there. Theory is important, and theory makes an awful lot of sense because it can help you get unstuck, and it can help you make sure that what you are producing makes perfect sense, because applying the same formula time and time again, it's always going to produce a desired result. That's what formulas are there for. But once you get it, once you use that formula a few times, the cool thing is starting to push the limits of the formula and try to figure out how to mix it with other formulas. So to give you an example, the hero's journey is something incredibly utilized in most of the MCU's movies, you know, if not all of them. It's a very clear formula. But if you look at movies of one superhero versus movie with a group of superheroes, you're going to see some changes in there. And you're going to see some changes because the monomyth, the hero's journey, only caters for one person, for one hero. And even that has some issues because it's a formula derived from a set of stories that were analyzed, but it doesn't take into account all the cultures, it doesn't take into account all the different type of stories, and therefore it's a little bit reductionist from that point of view. Yes, I'm criticizing something that I absolutely love and that I use all the time. Go to Japan, Korea, go to Asia, and you will find that their stories are told in a very different way, that the hero takes a different role and the failure plays a different role, and that there is group dynamics. The hero is not usually alone. The hero is with a group of people who support them. Son Goku and the rest of the gang in Dragon Ball is a perfect example for that. There would be plenty more, but I love Dragon Ball, so that's why I'm talking about it. And that's always been there since the very beginning, and that gives a greater deal of scope for more conflict, for help, for everything. So if you look at the movies, the Avenger movies for instance, you will see how that is implemented and how the story is told in a different manner, how they rely on each other. That is something that we don't see often enough in role-playing games. When we see adventures written, they don't take that theory into account because It's very rare to find an adventure that is going to give you reasons for the group dynamics to change from one way to another. It is harder like that, but that's a way to apply a theory. Ultimately, does theory matter? Well, yes, it kind of does. Does that mean that you cannot do great stuff without learning about theory? No, you can't. Plenty of people have done. There are loads of people who are incredibly competent because they are naturally talented and because they have read, they have written, they have watched so many things that plenty of things get stuck, they internalize, and that competence becomes subconscious. It's just something that comes out naturally. It's like, I don't know, somebody who's grown up in a restaurant and naturally knows how to cook and how to mix ingredients because they've just absorbed it. So if you don't know RPG theory, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I would still recommend reading a few of the books on adventure writing and some world building. Cobalt Press have a few absolutely fantastic books on the matter. It might spark your imagination. It might spark a little bit how you arrange and organize your writing, which is never, ever a bad thing. But if you're so not inclined to do it, more power to you. Just keep writing. Keep doing, which is what really matters. Theory is important, but you can get along without that too. So just keep going. That's the theory. I'll talk to you tomorrow.